Alright, this is going to be a quick video, just going to go over the sub-stories challenge stages. So we're going to start with Viskas here. You want to bulk up Viska a bit. I prefer to use her as a main tank. So we'll have her go in, we want her to jump to the other side and get ready for when the skeletons come out. Once the skeletons are out, you use S3 a lot. She'll be able to recover a bunch of her mana and do pretty decent damage out to all the targets. And when the skeletons get too close to you, you want to use S2 to jump to the other side again. You don't want them to clutter up on top of you, because they will hurt. They do a pretty significant amount of damage. I did bring Esker for the DPS in this instance, for AoE damage. I thought it would help more in this first wave, but I don't think you actually need to. I think this is very much like the Tower Challenge. After a certain amount of time, the boss just dies over for you, and then you just have to pick off the remaining enemies. So you can use AoE to help, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. Esker does help a little bit with the second boss of this fight, since you gotta fight Nalia, and he's got some decent single target and some CC built into him. So again, with the first wave, mostly you just want to make sure that Viska's jumping around back and forth as much as you can, just so that way the skeletons can't clutter on top of her all at the same time. When they do start to clutter up, that's when you want to jump over to the other side to keep them moving. Because as long as the skeletons are walking, they can't attack. You do want to bring some CC immunity or cleanse, because there are some stuns in this first fight, as well as Nalia likes to stun a lot. So bringing some CC immunity is actually really helpful. So you don't need Shay, you could run a net instead, and a net can definitely work. So don't feel like you have to have some really high investment for this stage. Do try to CC Nalia down as much as you can. You do some okay damage, but once you get the boss knocked down, you actually do quite a bit more damage. You can see that we're taking a good chunk off once she went down on the ground for a little bit there. Just have Esker and May on auto. I'm just mostly focusing on playing Shay and Viska for this fight. Not terribly difficult. This is one of the earlier sub-stories that was first released, and the difficulty kind of varies depending on when the release cycle was. Overall, pretty straightforward fight. Just have some AoE definitely helps with the first wave, so don't entirely use a single target DPS, but make sure you do have some single target for dealing with Nalia. But she's not particularly hard. Yeah, for Viska, I probably could have tanked her up a little bit more. I did put a lot of attack speed on her just to make sure she could get her skills off really rapidly in the fight. Nothing too much. You could bulk her up a bit. You could probably run other tanks instead, but I prefer to run Viska as the tank in this fight and just bring more supports and damage. Alright, next up, this is Rephy stage. So if you see this fight, it's very similar to both the Priest and the Warrior Lab, but you got to fight them back to back with a single group or a single party. So build-wise, you want to make sure that you have a very strong single target DPS for the second fight, then have plenty of CC for the second fight. Rephy can mostly handle the first fight on his own. I do prefer to bring May though, just to have that extra healing as a buffer, just to make the first fight go a little smoother. Make sure with Rephy that you have the 0 mana cost cleanse. You'll need it immediately, because as soon as this fight starts, it's a little different than the Priest Lab, because the first thing he does is stun your party. Make sure to let him stun you first, then cleanse, and then start healing. Now the boss does damage himself, so you don't actually have to worry about dealing too much damage to this boss specifically. He will kill himself for you. So do try to conserve some mana for the second fight. There's a stun again. Cleanse it and start healing. Just between May and Rephy, make sure that Rephy brings some attack gear, attack, crit damage, so that way he can heal sufficiently. This is a Dragon Stick Rephy, so like this isn't high investment, but he can heal it mostly fine on his own. May's there to help out. Now, a trick is you do want to watch his health. So every time he does that purple cloud, he does damage himself. So now the next purple cloud will kill him. So when you get down, when his health's low enough that the purple cloud will kill himself, do not cleanse. So he's going to stun us. I'm not going to cleanse it. He's going to do the purple cloud, kill himself, and you take no damage. So that way you can go into the last phase with full mana, all your skills off cooldown. So this guy, first thing he's going to do is stomp and stun your whole party. So cleanse with Rephy. Start doing damage. Now he's going to try to do the insta-kill. So he's raising the axe above his head. You want to CC him down. Once he's CC'd down, he takes a ton of damage. So definitely lay into him with your single target DPS. In fact, I do pretty good damage here. So I don't think he gets a second chance to do the insta-kill as far as I'm aware. So we just keep damaging him. Just have your CC ready. So he's doing the stomp there. Cleanse it. Oh, slow on cleanse. So that was lazy of me. Yeah, he's going for the insta-kill, but he had low enough health that it didn't matter. So that's how you do the Rephy fight. Gao's very good. May's very good. Have to bring Rephy. Any single target DPS. Doesn't have to be Celine. Use whatever you got. For gearing on Celine, I do recommend you bring the Undead Mask for the second fight. You don't need it for the first fight. First boss, there's no mask for the first boss. But you do want that extra damage for the second fight. Alright, so next up we got Pris. This one's actually pretty easy in my opinion. So yeah, we're going to go in here. With Pris, you want to make sure to save her S3 for when the ads spawn. That's the trick to this fight is use the S3, it will clutter all the ads together, and then you just AoE the ads. I'm going to do this with Celine's S3 as my method of taking out the ads. Frey and Klaus are just there for easy Manticore fight because it is a Manticore fight, and I'll explain that once the fight starts. Go over a little gearing there for a sec, sorry about that. Alright, so first thing the boss is going to do is the Flame Breath, which dispels you, so just tank through that. Klaus, I'm just going to keep using S2 just to apply the defense down and the amp that he has. Now once the Fire Breath ends and he starts doing the Purple Breath, you want to shield up, so that way no one gets petrified. Now here's the green poison. This is what summons the ads. So it's going to hit Klaus. You're going to see ads behind. S3 with Pris pulls them in. AoE. Once all the ads are killed, the boss automatically knocks down for you, regardless of his CC bar. And he takes a significant amount of damage. So much so that I killed him before he got back up. You can definitely do this fight with low investment DPS. As long as you have enough damage to kill the ads, you can take out that fight. It's pretty easy. So that's all you have to do is just worry about the ads coming out, kill the ad or clutter the ads with Pris's S3, and then one-shot them with your AoE hero. Alright, next we got Theo. So this one's a bit of a CC fight, so you gotta kind of manage your CC between 3 different bosses. I am going to be running Saria. I'm using a magic comp for this fight to kind of go with Theo to match. He's got plenty of CC, so I felt kind of confident that I could bring Saria. It's definitely some better picks. I don't think Saria is the best for this fight, not by a long shot. But if you have like a main DPS that has magic damage to go along with Theo or has CC, will definitely pair very well in this fight. So first up is Malduk. So, and just like the Guild Raid Nordic, he has a laser beam that you want to watch out for. And that's what you primarily want to stun, is when he readies the laser beam. You can tell the laser beam, he's got a skull and cross above his right shoulder. When that arches back and starts glowing, that's when he prepares it. So I'm mostly just using some CC to get the bar nice and low. And there's the laser coming, and you see I hit it with May's S3 to knock him down. And just lay some damage in. He's doing some damage, not too much. Moira helps to mitigate a lot of the magic damage here. I'm stacking magic defense with May's UT1 as well to make it so the magic damage. Because all three bosses in this fight do magic damage. So here's a laser again. I do the S3 a little late, but it does hit. So we did get hit with the laser for a second there, but we were okay. If you get hit by the full laser, I think it kills you. So, or just does a ton of damage. So definitely don't let him get that laser off. Second fight is Ezekiel. The trick to him is you actually want to watch his Fury counter. You actually want to make sure to CC him once he enters his Fury state, when he turns like deep black and goes berserk. So you'll see that blue icon there on his status bar up at the top. So you just keep an eye on that. Just try to keep him CC'd down. If he goes into the Fury mode, you want to make sure to knock him down, so that way he doesn't have the ability to take advantage of being in the Fury state, because he does a ton of damage when he's in Fury mode. So he's got 2 stacks right now. I'm applying some CC. I'm just going to knock him down again, make sure he just doesn't have a chance to get that off. If he does get to the 4 stacks and enters the Fury state, throw every CC you got. Now, specifically with Theo, make sure to save his S3 though. You have to have your S3 going into this third fight. As soon as this fight started, it slows down. You have to S3 with Theo. There's no option. Have to do it. Once you do it, it automatically knocks the boss down. If you don't do that, I believe the boss does insta-kill you, so make sure you save S3 going into the third fight with Theo. After that, I get hit with another one of Pavel's attacks. I think it's only the first one he does that has the ability to insta-kill you, because I get hit with one and it hurts, but we lived. So, but you want to watch when he floats up in the air, like right now. Yeah, you can see that did a ton of damage. So you want to S3 that specifically with Theo to make sure he doesn't get that off. So, a little sloppy on my end, but that's how you do it. You just make sure you have that S3 for the final fight right when it starts. It is a required step to the fight in order to proceed. Alright, next up is Dimael's substage. This one you want to make sure to have an AoE DPS. You need it for the first wave as well as the second fight, since the second fight is Epical, which is the same as the Archer stage boss of the Underground Lab. So you'll need some AoE damage. Now, one difference than the Archer Lab though is that Epical will stun you before she summons the elves. So make sure you have either CC immunity or bring a cleanse. To start this fight here, you got to take out these pillars as quickly as possible. They keep applying a attack speed debuff, and it really hurts. It will slow you down massively. So the quicker you kill these, the better. With Saria, I do dash to get into a better position, and then S3 to take out as many of them as quickly as possible. And then we just start picking off the rest. I ended up with 60 stacks, which is manageable. But if you get up to like 100 stacks, like you will slow down to a point where you can't get off any skills in a timely manner, and Epical will most likely kill you. You don't need too much damage for this fight, just AoE damage is way more important, so bring your AoE DPS. For Epigal here, again, like I warned, when she goes to do the Spirit Bomb attack, she will summon the elves first, and she will stun you, so make sure you have either CC immunity up or a cleanse. You can see it stunned Dimael, but nobody else got stunned. I think I slipped a little bit with the CC immunity. That was a little weird. But yeah, you take out the elves, and then you can do some damage to the boss. And it's very similar to the archer fight. It's not especially different. So, my Dimael is very poorly geared. He's just got some defense stuff, so he's not doing a whole lot. Sari is doing most of the work, so this is a fight that you can basically do with 3 heroes, it's just as long as you bring an AoE DPS. So here comes the next wave of adds. Boss is preparing that Spirit Bomb, but I take out the elves, which instantly knocks the boss down, and then you can just do some damage again. Very simple, it's exactly the same as the archer fight. The only difference is that slow stacking debuff from before, which stacks really quickly, and then the addition of the stun that happens before, or the boss summons the adds. So make sure you just have that cleanser or CC immunity, and you'll be good. Alright, now this is Crow's challenge stage. This one's actually really easy. A lot of people can actually do this with a dragon stick. I do have an invested Crow, but you can, like I said, you don't need a lot of investment. Main thing is bring as much amp, shred, and damage buff as you can. In this case, I'm using Mediana, who brings amp and attack. We got Philip, who's bringing shred, and then Klaus has a combination of shred, attack buff with his unique weapon, and amp from one of his transcendence perks. So even if you're doing this with a dragon stick, you're going to do this the exact same way as I'm going to do this fight. You want to stack Crow's S1 on the boss. You need to do S1 3 times. You need to make the hunting dog marks go up to 100 stacks. And then once it's at 100 stacks, apply all your amps, debuffs, everything you got, and then fire Crow's S3. This is probably the most simplest of the sub-story challenges, so I don't think anyone that has Crow, even with the dragon stick, just make sure he's, geared properly, crit, damage, attack, so on. Alright, so there's the third S3, we got the 100 stacks, so I'm going to start firing the S3, apply all the amps, buffs, and as long as you see the boss hit 1 HP and fall over, you've won. He'll revive for a few seconds, but after about 5 seconds he'll just fall over dead automatically. As long as you knock him to that 1 HP, that's it, you won the fight. Easy peasy. Now here's Ophelia's. This fight's very confusing. Like, I haven't figured out an exact trick to it. There's definitely some things I did figure out in my time fighting it. The book itself hits with physical damage and does appear to attack your entire party with every attack. So your backline, your priest, you want to make sure to be using bracelets. And each of the book's attacks applies a defense down effect, it seems, because it does look like we do take more damage the longer the fight goes on. So P-dodge can actually be effective, because as long as you dodge the attack, you don't have that defense down effect applied to you. Now, one thing that does go on in this fight is you do need to CC the boss around the same time that you kill it. You can do it a little bit before or after, but make sure it's CC'd when you're landing a killing blow. Otherwise, it'll basically stop at 1% HP until it's CC'd. If you don't CC it quick enough, I think you got like a 5-second window. So as you're doing the fight, try to keep the health and CC bar roughly about the same. So the longer the fight goes on and we're getting it lower, you're seeing I'm keeping the CC bar chipped down. And I throw out that May S3 at the end there just to secure the knockdown and then finish the kill. We used a combination of Frey's shield. The boss does inflict, well, not the boss, the Ophelia of light that's in the back does inflict anti-healing on the tank. So it's really difficult to tank this fight. I do highly recommend a high combination of physical defense, magic defense on the tank. Your priest should have physical defense. For Silica, I did run T5 Dark just to give Ophelia extra physical defense, just to make it easier on her so she wouldn't die within like 2-3 hits at the start of the fight. So that definitely helped. And then yeah, just trying to tank that was very difficult. I did have to play around with gearing configuration for a while to find a effective tank setup that could actually survive because of the mixed damage, and then also having to support the back line, including Ophelia, so make sure that she doesn't die. So that's the new stage. I'll definitely experiment with Ophelia's a little bit, see if we can find some easier ways to kill it, or just make the fight a little smoother. I did kind of brute force it. Took me about I'd say about 10 tries. So those are the fights. Hope you enjoyed this video and have a wonderful rest of your day.